Literal, aka Mega Blast. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Ancient Box. Now, Ancient Box is one of those decks where it takes a certain kind of finesse, I feel like, to really play this deck to its full potential. Now, Ancient Box is a deck that I kind of picked up when I really didn't know what I wanted to play, and I quickly ended up falling in love with this deck. This deck really likes to thread that line and that needle of being at 0 cards in deck and 3 cards left in deck. So that's where the kind of finesse really comes in. You need to be able to make sure you're prioritizing your super rods and your pal pads and things like that to be able to put stuff back into your deck so you don't end up accidentally decking yourself towards the end of the game towards those last couple prize cards. So before we jump into that deck list, if you guys are enjoying the content I've been making so far in the channel, don't forget to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. I really would appreciate it. Now let's jump right in to that deck list. Alrighty, here we are at that deck list, Ancient Box. Now, to kind of talk about some of the really key and important attackers in this deck, I feel like I have to start off with Roaring Moon in that Vengeance Fletching attack for 2 Dark Energy, 70 plus. This attack does 10 more damage for each ancient card in your discard pile. So we're really trying to put a good amount, if not most or all sometimes, of our ancient cards into our discard pile, being these Koraidons here with that Primordial Beatdown, which we do use from time to time, 30 times. This attack does 30 damage for each of your ancient Pokemon in play. And then, of course, we're trying to put Flutter Manes, Professor Sada's Vitality, Explorer's Guidance, our Earthen Vessels, our Ancient Booster Energy Capsules, and things like that into the discard pile, so this Roaring Moon will scale the longer the game goes on and to do more damage. And then, of course, we also have 4 copies of the Flutter Mane here for that little bit of control aspect with this ability, Midnight Fluttering. As long as Pokemon's in your active spot, your opponent's active Pokemon have no abilities except for Midnight Fluttering. This card's really great in the stall matchups, really helpful in Lost Box and things like that. For that Hex Hurl attack as well, 90 damage. Then you put 2 damage counters on your bench Pokemon, your opponent's bench Pokemon, in any way you would like. And then we do play 1 copy of Great Tusk with that Land Collapse attack for 2 colorless energy. Discard the top card of your opponent's deck. If you had played an Ancient Supporter card from your hand this turn, you discard 3 more cards in this way. So a total of 4 cards as long as we have played an Ancient Supporter. So either our Professor Sada's Vitality, choose the 2 of our ancient Pokemon, attach a basic energy to the discard pile to each of them, and then draw 3 cards. And Explorer's Guidance, look at the top 6, put 2 into the hand, and discard the other cards. So really trying to just hone in on getting a bunch of things in the discard pile and really scaling that Roaring Moon as high as we possibly can, and having some different elements in the deck depending on the matchup. You know, that Flutter Mane for that kind of control variant, and that Great Tusk just for that milling capability depending on where we are at in the game. And I do want to point out just a 2 quick cards here. I am playing 1 copy of Kieran for, it's both effects really. Switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. This has really come in handy quite a bit for me when playing Ancient Box, especially because there's not very many switch outs in this deck. You kind of have to retreat to really get out of something. So being able to switch is very helpful. And then, of course, during this turn, attacks used by your Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon EX and Pokemon V. Really helpful in that very tough Charizard EX matchup to get to that 330 that you might just be 10 or 20, maybe even 30 short on to get there. And then for the A-Spec of choice, I am playing Secret Box. You can play Awakening Drum or Prime Catcher. I just feel Secret Box is the best option we have. You can use this card only if you just discard 3 other cards from your hand. So usually trying to discard some of those ancient cards is very helpful. And then search your deck for an item card, a tool card, a supporter, and a stadium. Reveal them and put them into your hand. So not only are we discarding some ancient cards, but we're grabbing a tool, an item, a supporter, and a stadium. So we're able to grab an Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, our Pokestop, any one of these items, and then of course a supporter card as well, whether it be Kieran or Professor Sada's Vitality or that 1 copy of Boss's Orders, can be very helpful. So now let's jump right in to that gameplay. Already here at that Ancient Box gameplay, at the coin flip here, we really try to want to go second so we can get that first attack off, being able to just attach to our Roaring Moon and then Sada's Vitality, a Dark Energy to it, hits them for chip damage or something, can be very helpful. But we're going to start off with Great Tusk in the active spot here. Now, not too bad of a starting Pokemon, kind of one of those things where pretty much all the basic Pokemon in the deck that we can start with, except Radiant Greninja, aren't bad to start with. So we're going to be playing against Regidrago Box here. Now, I will say this matchup does feel a bit awkward at times, being able to kind of hit for 200, put 6 damage counters on something, hit for 200 more, put 6 damage counters on something, can really make it difficult. However, all of our Pokemon, or a good chunk of them, being at 140 HP definitely helps out quite a bit instead of that 120 HP. Now, our opponent here gonna really set up and really get 2 Regidrago V's, Squawkabilly, that Teal Mask Ogerpon, gonna be able to Teal Dance and do all kinds of different stuff. They're really setting up themselves for a solid turn here. They already got a couple different Dragon Pokemon in the discard pile. We saw a Dragonite V-Star hit the discard pile, which is a very spicy add to the deck, I feel. Gonna play a Trekking Shoes, pitch that Iono, draw a card here, another Trekking Shoes, take the top cards. They're not gonna be pitching anything here. Earthen Vessel, pitch a Noivern EX. Now, Noivern EX is the card that's very difficult to deal with in this matchup, being able to basically prevent any damage that would be done from our opponent's basic Pokemon. So they're going to be able to really prevent our Roaring Moon and our Koraidon and our Flutter Manes from really doing any damage. So we might have to rely on alternative win conditions to come out with a W in this game. So we're going to have to see what's going on here. Pretty solid hand for us, though. We got Secret Box in the hand. We got Roaring Moon. We got Nest Ball, Earthen Vessel, Explorer's Guidance if we want to just kind of look at the top 6 and just pitch some more things. So we're going to have to see what we can cook up here. So I'm going to bench that Roaring Moon. We're going to Nest Ball, grab that Radiant Greninja here, Earthen Vessel, pitch an Explorer's Guidance, get 2 energies. We're going to be able to concealed cards here, pitching one of the energies to be able to draw some cards. So we're going to pitch that Dark Energy to be able to draw 2. And then we're going to be able to attach that Dark Energy to the Roaring Moon. I'm going to elect for the Explorer's Guidance. And the reason I do that is because I wanted to try to get more things in the discard pile, to try to thin out my deck a little bit and try to set up for this Roaring Moon later on. So we're going to use that Secret Box here, and we're going to pitch Koraidon, Capsule, and a Fighting Energy to grab Nest Ball, Capsule, Sadas, and Pokestop here. Play the Nest Ball, grab another Roaring Moon. Going to be able to, or sorry, Nest Ball, bench the Roaring Moon, play the Pokestop, roll the Pokestop, and then we're going to be able to attach any capsules if we'd want to, but we're going to elect to not do that. So we're just going to pass turn here, pass to our opponent. Our opponent's going to be able to evolve the Regidrago V's into V-Stars this turn. Going to be able to use that Legacy Star V-Star power. So we're going to have to see what they can cook up here. We're not super great. It's not too big of a deal if they end up KOing this Great Tusk, because it's just one extra ancient card in our discard pile. So we're going to have to see what they kind of do with all that. But if they end up doing that, then I can just promote the Roaring Moon and take a KO on that Regidrago V-Star is going to be the plan here. So we're going to energy switch, move some energies around. A lot of grass energies in play here, but not any fire energy. They discard fire energy with that Carmine, which I think is very interesting. Could have attached that maybe to the Regidrago V and then been able to kind of go that route. But not too sure. Maybe our opponent's got a different plan in mind, trying to use like maybe that Dragon Laser attack or something. We'll have to see here. So they're going to evolve that Regidrago V into Regidrago V-Star. They also could potentially even be thinking about grabbing maybe something off this Earthen Vessel. Pitch that grass energy to get 2 energies here. Getting 1 grass energy, maybe looking for a Teal Dance here could be the option. We'll have to see what our opponents got cooked up. They're going to use that Legacy Star, discard the top 7 cards of their deck, being able to put 2 cards from their discard pile back into their hand, and this could be where they grab that fire energy to be able to attach to that Regidrago V-Star. So putting 2 cards from their discard pile into their hand might have been one of those super rods. So they're going to use that super rod to put Regidrago V-Star, grass energy, and fire energy back into the deck. Earthen Vessel to pitch a grass energy to grab 2 energies, a fire and a grass. Going to be able to attach that fire energy more than likely here to take a KO, but they already attached for turn with that grass energy, sadly, so cannot be doing that. Definitely maybe a little bit of a misplay on their half. Not too sure though. We're gonna first off roll that Pokestop, getting an Ultra Ball here. Gonna pitch both those Ancient Booster Energy Capsules, grabbing ourselves our Roaring Moon. Gonna be able to bench that Roaring Moon here. And now I'm kind of in a unique position. I can kind of start milling my opponent as well if I'd want. So we're actually going to kind of set up for a little bit of an alternative play here. We're going to use that land collapse to kind of mill 4 cards. But in the meantime, I have 2 Roaring Moons that are mostly set up on my bench. They both have a Dark Energy on there. I can use Professor Sada's Vitality if they take a KO on that Great Tusk here, and then kind of go that route. So we're going to have to see here. Our Great Tusk is definitely going to be going down this turn. They're going to attach that Fire Energy to that Regidrago V-Star. Going to be able to use that Apex Dragon attack to really set themselves up in a position where they can start really taking some very key knockouts and really start kind of putting this game where they want to be. So they're going to boss up here one of our Roaring Moons that has a Dark Energy onto it. Going to be able to take a KO on that. But first, Teal Dance, attach that grass energy, draw a card. And now this is something where that alternative win condition might come into play. So my opponent has 9 cards left in deck. That could put me into a position where I could just mill them to win the game. So we're going to have to see here what we got cooking. So they're going to end up using that Covert Flight from that Noivern EX, I believe is what it's called. I believe it's Covert Flight. So we're going to use Explorer's Guidance here, and we're going to grab ourselves a counter catcher and an earthen vessel. And the reason I grab these is because I don't mind sacrificing this Roaring Moon to kind of set up to be able to play 2 supporters and then mill my opponent with that Great Tusk. Or we can also just even retreat here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to retreat, and then we're going to be able to land collapse here, milling 4 more cards off the top, putting them at 5. So now they're going to draw for turn. They're going to have 4 cards left in deck. If they don't end up playing Iono or anything, they can KO the Great Tusk. I can Super Rod it back in, Nest Ball for the Great Tusk, attach an energy, Sada's Vitality to 2 of my ancient Pokemon, retreat out of one of the Roaring Moons, and then mill my opponent to win the game. So they're going to hit that Great Tusk for 200, and then put 6 damage counters on that Roaring Moon here. And now at this point, my win condition is not to take 6 prize cards. My win condition is to mill out my opponent. So I just kind of catch up the Squawk ability there to kind of just give myself a little extra cushion just in case if I didn't have it. But I definitely do have it. So we're going to Super Rod 2 energies, that Great Tusk back in. We're going to Pokegear, grab that boss here. We don't really need to do this. I'm kind of just thinking in my head while doing this to make sure that I have the game. So we're going to say this Vitality, going to be able to attach that Dark Energy to the Roaring Moon, fighting to the Great Tusk, attach that energy to the Great Tusk for turn, and then land collapse, milling the last 4 cards of our opponent's deck to win the game against Regidrago V-Star, one of the better decks in the format, especially heading in to the World Championships. And that is just one of the many reasons why I really enjoy this Ancient Box deck, having so much just different win conditions that you can have, that control aspect with that Flutter Mane, the mill capability with that Great Tusk, and being able to scale with that Roaring Moon later on in the game, an early game attacker with that Koraidon, with that Primordial Beatdown. The deck really proves itself to be a great contender. Now let's jump right in to that outro. Alrighty, let's get you for today's video. I'm gonna make sure to put the deck list that I played in today's video in the description below, so you guys want to try it out for yourself, you'll be able to. And while you're down there, in the description, I have links to my Twitter and my Discord, so definitely check those out as well. And don't forget to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!